time, I know people aren't going to believe this, there used to be a time where coverage did not begin at noon on a Thursday. Like, for real. Coverage didn't begin at noon on Thursday. I'm old enough to remember when you got one game Thursday and one game Friday, and it was after your late local news. No joke. We didn't see the NCAA tournament starting at noon on a Thursday and noon on a Friday. One of my earliest memories of watching the NCAA tournament, and I'm trying to remember the year. It might have been, I'm thinking about like mid-'80s, was a late night game randomly. Boise. Could have been Boise, could have been Ogden, Utah, wherever, where it was St. John's and Auburn. And Chuck Person, who was an NBA player for a pretty long time and a good one, played for Auburn and just manhandled St. John's. I try to remember the star for St. John's. It might have been the late Malik Sealy, passed away a few years ago. But that game would come on at like 11 o'clock at night because, frankly, it was in the West Coast, so it was probably like a 9 o'clock game or something like that. That would be like the last game of the day or one of the last games of the day, and that would be the game that you would get. And then we morphed into, hey, we can show the whole tournament. CBS is willing. It's gotten more popular. CBS is willing to show all of it. So they would have a game at noon. And if it wasn't the game that you wanted to see, then you could, like in your area, you would get your team. But then you were able to go purchase like NCAA March Madness, and you could watch it on your laptop. And then you could even, I can buy it and watch it on my television. And now, the entire thing is available. That's where we have come. I think ESPN one year had the first two rounds, and they played the games around the clock.
Ooh.
So a lot of the games were on tape delay, obviously.
Yeah.
But around the clock, like in the middle of the night, there were games shown.
Wow.
It's a long time ago.
While you're sleeping.
But yes, or not.
You just stay up.
Sleeping. Yeah. So that congratulations to the start of the NCAA tournament, and for all of you who have mobile wagering apps now.
Oh yeah.
Give them a workout.
Makes that a little
Give
extra
them a workout.
spicy.
I did. I think I might have done something on the Wagner Howard game.
Potentially, maybe.
No idea. No idea about either team. No. Zero knowledge at all.
Shooting a dart.
About either team. Not even a dart. It's more like I'm throwing a beach ball, hoping it sticks at the wall.
Oh, yeah.
We got hockey tonight.
We do.
So I will not be watching Wagner, Howard, and Virginia, Colorado State. We've got the Hurricanes playing at the New York Islanders tonight. So this is obviously a rematch in the playoffs a year ago. And Carolina won that series in 6 games. They lost game 5 here, won game 6 up there. And theoretically, we said going into the game, man, this is going to be low scoring, 2 teams, stingy. And it was a goal fest last year. And we thought the same thing this year. Oh, man, this is going to be low scoring. Yeah, no. Carolina won 4-3 in overtime the first time, lost 5-4 in overtime the second time, lost 5-4 in regulation the third time. So, yeah, that's exactly right. 7, 9, 9, 25 goals in 3 games combined. I kind of expect a little bit of a Golapalooza tonight.
As we should.
Right?
With Jake and Kuzi especially now.
Yeah, well, theoretically, that's what Carolina needs to do.
Yeah.
The Islanders have been a difficult matchup because they play a very physical brand of hockey, and we know this. Physical teams can bother Carolina, but the Islanders will also be super desperate. They have lost 4 in a row. They have now fallen 2 spots. They're a couple of points, but 2 spots out of a wild card spot. So the Islanders have to get back to winning. We are running out of games. The Islanders have 73 points in 67 games. They're 3 points behind Philadelphia, but the Washington Capitals, who Carolina will see in Washington on Friday, have 75 points in 67 games. Washington, for all intents and purposes, is a playoff team right now, and they are in the second wild card position. So this run, by the way, Islanders tonight, Philly at home on Thursday, and then Washington on Friday. And I think Toronto comes here on Sunday. It's another week of, hey, we're just playing playoff teams.
Boom, boom, boom.
Basically, light playoff teams, even though the Islanders are kind of faltering. Philadelphia hasn't played well of late. Washington is playing very well, of course. And Toronto, until Carolina beat them, had won 12 of 15. So a whole bunch of teams fighting for playoff spots. The Hurricanes have a 14-point cushion on the Flyers right now. Carolina's going to at least have home ice advantage for the first round of the playoffs. So big game tonight, maybe more desperate for the Islanders. How will Carolina match that desperation? Because New York has to get something out of tonight. They have to. They have given, we talked about games in hand. Games in hand only matter if you win them. And the Islanders gave them all back.
Yeah.
Gave them all back. All the games in hand that they had, they handed back. They're still right there, and they still have the pedigree to be a good team and a playoff team with a great goaltender in Elias Sorokin and a team that could make life miserable for you in the first round of the playoffs. But they haven't played well of late. We'll see. See what happens tonight.
Yeah, I know.
All right, when we come back, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, have signed every quarterback available. They traded Kenny Pickett after signing Russell Wilson. Then they traded almost nothing to get Justin Fields. We'll talk to Brooke Pryor, who covers the Steelers. And also, we'll talk about the rest of the league, including the Panthers' extreme makeover. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Say what you want about Justin Fields, all of the physical talents, the highlight level plays, but he's still a question mark in terms of whether or not he's going to be an above average quarterback in the National Football League. And that alone was enough for the Chicago Bears to get off of the roller coaster and decide to go in a different direction and draft a quarterback with the #1 overall pick.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's March in North Carolina, and we are kicking things off again. So you know what that means. No, I'm not talking about pollen. I'm talking about the huge college basketball tournament that so many of us have filled out brackets for. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM. And if you really want to spice things up for the tournament, you can download the BetMGM app or log into your existing account and spin the March matchups wheel. That'll give you a 10 through 16 seed team for the tournament. And if your squad makes it to the final 16, you'll win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets. The best part of all of this game is absolutely free. So you got nothing to lose here. But if basketball isn't your thing, you can still pick so many different things with your favorite sport, like same game parlays, live bets, straight bets. That's only scratching the surface and only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
You call that a precision stop?
When a rookie stunt driver
Just give me a shot.
meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all,
Come on, focus.
they'll soon find out that behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue, with the power of VC Turbo and the most fuel-efficient gas-powered engine in its class,
Watch this.
the protege can become a master. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad.
Level up your drive with 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on the 2023 Nissan Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Auto Pacific segmentation excluding hybrids and electric vehicles. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2023 Rogue and dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing at $1748 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and NMAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 4/1/24.
You know, for some people, the first time they tried a New York City bagel, it was a life-changing event. Same can be said for New York cheesecake. Incredible. incredible stuff. But here's what really changed my life about a dozen years ago. Travers LASIK. Dr. Lori Travers changed my life. I was about 2250 in terms of vision, couldn't do anything without glasses or contacts. Then, about 5 minutes per eye later, utterly painless, 20/20 vision. Dr. Lori Travers is the only LASIK specialist in the area, and she made it easy. 0% financing for 24 months is available, and you'll actually save money in the long run when you consider everything that glasses and contact lenses cost you over time. Think about the convenience. That's right. I just wake up and go. Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK, 919-510-6830. Get your free consultation. You can set it up online. TraversLASIK.com, 919-510-6830. TraversLASIK.com. See what you've been missing.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Victoria, can I get an update? Have the Pittsburgh Steelers inquired whether or not you can play quarterback for them?
They should. I would do it.
Seems like if anybody has thrown a football, maybe if you can pull off a perfect spiral, I believe the Steelers might want you to play quarterback for them. First Russell Wilson, then Justin Fields to completely remake the quarterback room. Brooke Pryor, you'll have to introduce yourself to your new to the new players. Brooke, of course, covers the Steelers for ESPN. It's exciting, though. Oh, no question about that. So so they trade for Russell Wilson. So let's take this in little steps here first. They trade for Wilson. Kenny Pickett gets mad. Then they trade Kenny Pickett. He says, "I handled it perfectly." I don't even know if I don't know how you handle that. That's fine. Kenny Pickett, wasn't obviously wasn't a great quarterback. He was a first-round pick, but he was a later first-round pick. So there's not as much expected right away. How did he handle it, and was there any other option really for the Steelers? Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brooke Pryor, ESPN at well, I'm drawing a blank on your was Brooke E. Pryor. B. E. Pryor. I was going to Brooke E. Pryor didn't sound right. B. E. Pryor on Twitter. Oh, I do. I do. I just lost my brain for a second. So, but I'm curious about Kenny Pickett here. Maybe we shouldn't spend this much time on Kenny Pickett, but he was mad that Russell Wilson was brought in, but we've watched Russell Wilson now for 3 years not be very good. So if you're Kenny Pickett and you're confident in yourself, why not stick it out? No matter how disrespectful they have theoretically been, why not stick it out and compete with Russell Wilson? You're going to Philadelphia where you're not competing with Jalen Hurts. So he's willingly accepting. This is like the Mitch Trubisky route, right? This is what Trubisky did in Chicago. Like, hey, let me out of here. And I'm going to go to Buffalo where I'm not going to take a snap. I'm going to stay behind Josh Allen. And then I'll go somewhere. Like, is Pickett taking this as like a gap year? Is he traveling Europe for a year? What is he doing? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, maybe he will. I mean, I know he's an Eagles fan, so that kind of helps in this scenario that he could at least, he could put all the posters and the pennants back on his bedroom wall. But I mean, honestly, Pittsburgh should have just traded him to the Jets for Zach Wilson. They could have saved the 6th-round pick, and Pickett might have actually played this year. When Aaron Rodgers inevitably gets hurt, he's not going to be the vice presidential candidate, which of course everybody is upset about. Actually, when I say everybody, I say nobody is upset about at all. The Giants are spending a ton of money. The Giants, they signed Snead, the cornerback from Kansas City, 2 years, $62 million. They make the trade with Carolina for Brian Burns. Are the Giants this close to competing for something that we don't know about? I mean, they could get somebody else. The Giants have a first-round pick, right? Did I get the Snead wrong? I don't know. Oh, it's no longer on the ESPN front page. Okay, I saw earlier a 2-year, $62 million deal, and I thought that seems excessive. Yeah, never mind. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing about first of all, I think you're right. They got very very little. Unfortunately, it's always going to be judged by what they turned down two trade deadlines ago. And Joe Person of The Athletic reported several times 2 1s and a 2 from the Rams to get Brian Burns in the middle. Basically the same week they traded Christian McCaffrey, they could have gotten that for Brian Burns, which I still don't understand how you turned that down for somebody who's not a quarterback. But they did. They turned it down because then they should have signed Brian Burns to a long-term deal the next day. Once they turned that down, they should have committed to Brian Burns then, and that deal would have looked much more economically smart. But then they let it wait, and then they couldn't sign him last year, and they weren't signing him now, so they decided to move on. But based on the values in the marketplace right now, I'm not saying Justin Fields is great, but to only get a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields, that is staggeringly low for somebody who 3 years ago was, one of the top picks in the entire draft. Right. Brooke Pryor at BE Pryor on Twitter joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I will let you go here. I did hear Tim Hasselbeck say this morning from ESPN that Caleb Williams would be the first pick, but he thinks that Drake May is the best of the available quarterbacks at the top of the draft. And I've heard more than one person say that, so I'm very curious why I keep seeing Drake May as the third quarterback off the board. But the NFL draft has ceased making sense for a while now. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree, but we're making progress. We went from none to T.J. Yates to Mitch Trubisky to Sam Howell, now to Drake May. We're trending upwards. Brooke Pryor at BE Pryor on Twitter from ESPN. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much. You got it. Yeah, the L'Jarius Sneed thing is gone now. We had our little show meeting, and I brought it up in the show meeting. I'm like, look at that. Look at the Giants thinking that there's something.
I know.
And apparently, no.
They don't think there's something.
They have thought better of it. Well, when we come back, questions and answers, one-timers next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina State Legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the Chief Operating Officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Think earning a degree is out of reach? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, it's time to think again. Because the new Next NC Scholarship could cover all of your tuition and fees at any of the 58 NC community colleges. Or at least half, if not all of your tuition and fees at one of the 16 public universities across the state. The best part? It doesn't have to be repaid. See if the Next NC Scholarship could be the opportunity for you and how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
If the kids want to get on the floor, they're going to get on the floor.
They'll find a way.
There are too many ways to get on the floor.
Yeah, and they've been drinking liquid courage all day.
And that is very possible, but only the ones that are old enough.
Only the older ones, yes.
So, the Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show, I'm Adam Gold. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll unveil as many brackets as I can get done. And I've been bad at this. I've been very bad at picking brackets. So I'm going to take the choices out of my own hands, and I'm going to put it in the hands of all of you. So it'll be interactive, and I hope you have your movie knowledge sharp for this so I can do well in whatever bracket pool I'm going to enter this bracket in. But right now, it's time for one-timers.
Yes. Well, we might get to that question if we have time. But up first, since you brought up the ACC and kind of this domino effect here, is there anything that could happen that you could foresee that would maybe change the destiny of the ACC, or is it just doomed?
No, I don't see. The writing's been on the wall. Right, too much unrest, too many schools that have their hands out.
Yeah.
And the ACC can't provide the money that they believe they have to have in order. Otherwise, they're just going to die on the vine. Yeah. Which, of course, none of that is true. But again, look, there are True Value hardware stores that can't keep up with Home Depot and Lowe's. Can't do it.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's going.
Okay, well, moving on to the NCAA tournament, which kicks off today. Realistically, what's the furthest you believe any of the teams that are playing today can actually make it in the tournament?
Today, I think Colorado State can win another game. I don't think Virginia's going to beat anybody in the main field. I think Colorado State can win another game.
Okay.
But yes, that's about it.
All right, and now moving on to our Carolina Hurricanes, who take on the Islanders tonight. So with the Islanders' desperation and our history of going into OT, today would be a great day to take the, is there going to be overtime?
Yeah.
I'm sure. So with their history and the Islanders' desperation, do you see them getting a little dirty on the ice? Should the Canes be watching out for that more so tonight?
Oh, the Islanders are just going to play their game, which is physical and maybe a little extra. But that's how the Islanders have always approached Carolina. It's how they approached the Hurricanes during the playoffs. It's how they approach the Hurricanes in every game. So if Matt Martin's on the ice, and I actually don't know if he's playing or not, yeah, I would expect that.
Well, that was going to be the next question. Is there one key player, whether it's someone who's a great goal scorer against the Canes or a dirty player that they should keep an eye out for?
No, Matt Martin.
Yeah.
If he's on the ice. Look, Matt Barzal is always good. And the Islanders have a good team. I mean, I'm kind of surprised as anybody that that they're struggling to get back inside the playoff. There was a long time where the Islanders were ahead of Carolina.
Yeah.
They have not been able to hold leads. By the way, 23 games that the Islanders have played this year. Basically 1 in 3 have gone into overtime.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're just exhausted.
Maybe they're tired.
Well, and last but not least, so who do you see in net? Who do you think Rod's going to put in the goal today?
Should be Pyotr Kochetkov. It's my guess. Freddie played last, right? Should be Kochetkov today.
Okay.
I don't think Rod's ready to give the job to one or the other. I think it'll be Kochetkov. And that's cool. I like to see the rotation. All right, when we come back, Victoria mentioned the breaking news or the top story. Clemson is suing the ACC. We'll talk about it next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
North Carolina, the waiting is over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is live in North Carolina. Adam Gold here, and we got a hockey game tonight where the Carolina Hurricanes are trying to beat the New York Islanders and put their foot on the Islanders' neck. Hey, and you can add a little spice to it, a little money line sprinkle, if you will. And FanDuel customers right now, brand new customers, can get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. Take the ice with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers. Call my mom more.
Oh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's tickets pack $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 2.93 to 4.24. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is now open in Knightdale with great brands at the best prices. In here, you'll always find the gear you need to do what you love out there. Get it all at your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store in Knightdale.
March, as we all know, is a critical time to check your home's windows. I'm Tim Donnelly, and if yours are cracked or leaking or won't stay open or won't open at all, then it's time to call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. With proven quality and service, it's no wonder thousands have trusted Window Nation. Don't miss out. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Sanja loves to bathe, but her feet, they were throbbing. Then one day, I found a solution. Arch supports from the Good Feet store. Have foot pain? Good Feet could help.
You too can live the life you love with Arch supports from the Good Feet store.
Guys, if your bedroom stats need help, let us help make your year a slam dunk. If you're suffering from ED, know that you're not alone. At Arise Urology Clinic for Men in Cary, we can help you get off the bench and back in the game with Core Wave Therapy. We're the only ones in the area to offer this exciting, cutting-edge technology that brings new hope to men relying on pills or painful injections. Call Arise Urology Clinic for Men in Cary at 919-459-5400 or visit CoreWaveTherapy.com.
It's time for spring cleaning, and there's no one better to call than our friends at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified, starting at $99. And if you get your air ducts cleaned, they'll clean your dryer vent for free. Visit ZeroResNC.com and book your appointment today.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Growing up, especially with all the different sports, but even like in AAU basketball, you're probably playing 3 games a day for 2 or 3 days over the weekend and stuff like that. And then even in lacrosse, playing multiple games a day in the hot sun. So growing up, a lot of us were definitely just kind of getting used to that. But when you get to the college level, it's definitely a little more intense to say and a little more challenging, especially when you're playing this top competition in the ACC.
Michael O'Connell from yesterday. Hi, it's Adam Gold. And I am on the Adam Gold Show, which is a good thing because I'm here. Victoria's here.
Makes sense.
The name of the show came second.
Yeah.
They didn't name the show and then say, hey, we got to find somebody to host
Adam
it.
Gold.
That would be good because I would have been one of the few people. Although, in my freshman year English class at the University of Maryland, there was another Adam Gold in my class.
What?
Yes. He was also from New Jersey, but we did not know each other. Also from not that far away from where I lived, but we did not know each other.
Wow.
So,
see, I didn't have a lot of Victorias in my classes. So just having another Victoria, but much less a Victoria Vodnecker.
I was, with all the underscores.
Yes.
I was a Montclair kid, and he was a West Orange kid. Not that far away, but we did not know each other.
Right.
There is only one David Teal. Richmond Times, he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Earlier today, I informed all of you that Clemson is suing the ACC because they can't control their own media rights, which apparently they forgot that they had signed those away twice in the grant of rights, but it doesn't really matter what they're saying. They're just trying to negotiate their way out. David Teal, when this news hit, your first thought was what?
Adam, that it's different than Florida State. It just feels different. And now that I've been on the mighty X platform, looking at some of the excerpts from the suit, there are some legal, strategic differences in what Clemson is asking for, specifically that they're not challenging the validity of the conference controlling the media rights of teams in the conference. What Clemson is saying, once it leaves the conference, it wants those rights back. So it's a little different legal approach than Florida State's, but where it really feels different is that we're talking about a charter member of the league.
Yep.
This is not a flame-throwing newcomer like Florida State. I mean, Florida State has been a malcontent in this conference for more than a decade. Clemson has not. Clemson has not used ACC membership as a crutch to explain away its own shortcomings. That's what Florida State has done. This just, and I think it's related to the current negotiations regarding CFP, not only revenue, Adam, but format, the model of it, and the feeling that at Clemson, and I've talked to some folks down there very recently, in fact, in Washington at the tournament, and this distinction that is forming of the Power Two, obviously the SEC and the Big Ten, and the ACC essentially being cast aside as a second-class citizen because you may not be guaranteed as many bids to the college football playoff as the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, David Teal is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. When I see those formats, all I can think of is why are the SEC and the Big Ten gerrymandering the college football playoff? Why are they guaranteeing themselves spots that we know they're going to get anyway? A mere swallow. They have, like, nobody's really like arguing that they have more teams playing higher level football than the other league. Nobody's arguing that, especially when you're taking Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC and Southern Cal. Forget about UCLA. They haven't played good football in a long time. But you're taking Southern Cal, and now Oregon and Washington are going to the Big Ten. You're going to have more of the teams playing the best football. I think we spoke to Chip Patterson last week, and we speak to him every Wednesday, so we'll talk to him about this tomorrow as well. And like his top 10 teams are all from those two leagues, like all 10 of them. So I don't even understand why. So to me, it's not about. It's just about like power. It has nothing to do with anything other than we have all the power. You're going to do what we want to do. What I want, and maybe this is the wrong thing to want, but I want Jim Phillips to walk away from the table and say, "We're out, fellas. I'm not going to contribute to your destruction of what we know as college sports." And I want Brett Yormark to do the same thing, because ultimately they're all going to get left with nothing. I just don't understand why anybody's participating in it.
And Adam, it may even trickle down to basketball.
Oh, it should. And that to me is that's the leverage that the ACC and the Big 12 should have, and every other conference should have. It's like, you guys go do your own thing. Go ahead, go knock yourself out. We'll just do basketball. We'll do football at our level, and we'll do basketball.
But the issue becomes is, will the remaining schools be willing to stay at that level, be content at that level of football just because of basketball and such? Or will North Carolina, will Virginia Tech?
I think they'll all leave.
Okay.
I think they'll all leave. I think, like, my read on this, and maybe this is the alarmist in me, and I don't like to be alarmist, but my read on this is that it's over. That RIP the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's not going to exist as anything that we ever saw it. I mean, Wake will still be in it, right? I mean, I'm not even sure Duke will, because Duke is the number one brand in basketball. I can absolutely see the Big Ten saying, yeah, North Carolina, bring your friend. I can see that. But, like, Wake's going to be in the ACC, and Boston College. I don't even I do believe the league will die.
It may. I walked away from Washington more pessimistic about the ACC's future path than I've ever been. And today's news affirms that suspicion.
So where do you think we're headed? David Teal is joining us here from the Richmond Times. Where do you think we're headed? Because Clemson files suit. I mean, I think the clock is ticking until Miami does the same. Now, North Carolina's got the issue that the General Assembly controls the decision, and I think that's to protect NC State. That doesn't mean that they won't both be invited because State plays credible football as well. But I mean, Miami's got to be next, and then maybe both Virginia schools, at least the two state schools in North Carolina, could also go. No,
I think it's possible, but how big is too big for the SEC and the Big Ten? And I keep coming back to Chip Kelly's idea. And to me, it makes a lot of sense. Just blow it up for football.
Right.
Whoever wants in, have your make it like an NFL. It's going to be bigger than the NFL. Might be twice as big as the NFL. But do your thing and break it up in any way you so desire. But daggone, return to some sanity in every other sport, including basketball, and have your old school conferences return.
So here's my question though, because that would make sense, except that now how does Greg Sankey go to the University of Alabama, or maybe to a school that's not pulling its weight, like the University of Florida, and say, look, I know that we were going to be distributing $100 million per school, even with Texas and Oklahoma here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have like an additional 20 schools as part of this. So now you're only going to get $86 million per year.
Yes, but that's going to be for football. You're going to get money. You're going to get money from basketball in your regular SEC.
So actually the 100 would be even a little bit less, since football is about 80% of the money anyway. I just don't. You're going to be asking schools to receive less money when you add more schools, because I have a hard time believing that ESPN is going to go further than what they've gone for the playoff. I mean, they might go somewhat further, but not enough to make everybody whole the same way. ESPN isn't. They can't print money as much as. I mean, they'll fire everybody. At some point when will they say, you know what? We're only going to take the best football brands. So Vanderbilt, sorry, it was nice knowing you. Think about that lawsuit. Northwestern, it was nice knowing you. Indiana, thanks for coming. Illinois, thanks for coming. Minnesota, sorry. So, I mean, are the leagues prepared to do stuff like that?
I doubt it, but at this point, nothing would surprise me. And I think, Adam, we are years from resolution here.
Clemson and Florida State both play a football season in 2025 in the ACC?
Yes.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh, right.
Florida's already playing a hostile season this year.
Right. I mean, I don't know who drew the short straw, but who's going to, who's the poor ACC representative going to Memphis for the NCAA tournament this week, where Clemson is?
Oh, that's right.
Going to go glad hand with all the Clemson folks?
Oh, man. See, who knew that Maryland was so far ahead of the game? Maryland knew it could see the future. Never mind. My alma mater couldn't see anything. They're doing. How's Maryland doing, by the way, in football and basketball in the Big Ten? How's that going for them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Traded all that culture for obviously dollar signs, but haven't been able to win anything, and they have no rivalry in any sport. There is not a
irrelevancy.
There's not a school in the Big Ten that circles the Maryland game in any sport. Not one. And they were, again, it's about money. At some point, maybe they'll figure this out. But I think the college game is, unfortunately, is just now a minor league for not only the NFL but the NBA, but more so the NFL. David Teal, good luck to the Cavaliers. They're going to be okay tonight?
I suspect yes.
All right, so I'll ask you this question. I put it up on Twitter. I've been bad at picking the brackets for now ever since I had all 4 teams in the Final Four in 2003, where I had Kansas, Syracuse, Marquette, and Texas. I had all 4 that year. I don't think I've got – yeah, not bad. I don't think I've gotten more than 1 to the Final Four since. So I'm picking games based on the best movies that were filmed in the at least in the areas where these colleges are. The 2 games tonight, Howard and Wagner. With Howard, we're going with National Treasure. There are 2 of them. The first one with Nick Cage, and Wagner on Staten Island. The first scene in The Godfather was filmed at an estate in Staten Island. So National Treasure versus The Godfather. Who you got?
Oh, Wagner.
Yeah, Godfather wins. And the Virginia-Colorado State, Evan Almighty, which was filmed pretty close to Charlottesville, and Blades of Glory, which was filmed in Colorado Springs. Almost the entire movie was filmed in Colorado Springs. So you got Evan Almighty or Blades of Glory?
I confess to having seen neither.
Neither have I. I haven't seen any. I've seen The Godfather and I've seen National Treasure. I have not seen Evan Almighty. Steve Carell is the lead in Evan Almighty, and Blades of Glory is a figure skating movie.
Go with Evan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm in with Steve Carell.
That's all I got. David Teal, you're the best, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Adam. Later.
Right. There you go. By the way, early voting, Godfather crushing National Treasure.
Shouldn't be any other way.
I got news for you. National Treasure, on the low, is a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is the Declaration of Independence.
Put up against The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Evan Almighty and Blades of Glory I have not seen. Blades of Glory, just the premise of it is hysterical.
I know.
But it's narrow. It's very narrow. Blades of Glory with a slight edge on Evan Almighty at this point. All right. I will ask the same type of questions to Brendan Marks from The Athletic. He will join us next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Tara Biden, they score! Tick-tack, power play goal, turbo time in Carolina.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7. Puck drop at 7:30.
They score! Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi ties it at 2.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam from my man Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Do you like wasting money? I mean, do you like lighting money on fire? All right, if you do, take $5,000 and light it on fire, because that's what you've just done if you pay closing costs when you get your mortgage. That's right. Whether you're buying a house for the first time, and let me tell you, first-time home buyers, you're going to need that money. I promise you. Or if you're refinancing, why would you refinance your mortgage? Because you're already trying to take advantage of lower rates, knowing that the rates will likely come down again. Still, in an election year, they always do. But if you pay closing costs, you are banking on the rates not going lower within the next 8 years. That's silly. They always come down. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. Take advantage of it. MillerLending.com. That's where you go to find out all about the original no closing cost mortgage. Don't ever pay closing costs. Miller Lending. An equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries?
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
You call that a precision stop?
When a rookie stunt driver,
Just give me a shot.
meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all,
Come on, focus.
they'll soon find out that behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue, with the power of VC turbo and the most fuel-efficient gas-powered engine in its class,
Watch this.
the protege can become a master. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad.
Level up your drive with 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on the 2023 Nissan Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Auto Pacific segmentation excluding hybrids and electric vehicles. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2023 Rogue and dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing at $1,748 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and NMAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 4/1/24.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
My new exercise bike. Yeah, more like my $1,500 coat rack.
At Babbel, we get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language.
My Spanish starts and ends at Adios.
Make it easy on yourself with Babbel. In just 10 minutes a day, you can start having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Hola, Espanol.
It starts here. To try Babbel free, text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
This is Adam Gold.
If the kids want to get on the floor, they're going to get on the floor.
They'll find a way.
There are too many ways to get on the floor.
Yeah, and they've been drinking liquid courage all day.
And that is very
So,
possible,
I mean-
but only the ones that are old enough.
Only
to
the
do that.
older ones, yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. It occurs to me that it's possible that NC State won the last ACC basketball tournament.
I
mean,
know.
that would go out like the school most responsible for the league forming.
Yeah. Closes it, too.
Could have closed the door.
Yeah.
News of the day is that Clemson has also filed a lawsuit to get their way out of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and the clock is ticking on Miami, maybe North Carolina, Virginia, who knows who else. Brendan Marks covers the Tar Heels and Duke for The Athletic, also part of their massive array of college basketball writing talent, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. How are you, man? Who knew you might have been at the scene of the last one?
Yeah, listen, if there was a tournament to be at, that was the one. I mean, as tough as it was to be in D.C. for a week, I texted my wife at halftime of the championship game on Saturday and said, "There is no place I would rather be right now." It was awesome. I hope just how awesome it was conveyed through TV.
You texted that to your wife?
Listen, I was really, really excited to see her, but, would you have wanted to have not been at that game?
No. I understand. I wholly understand the sentiment. I'm not in any way arguing about the sentiment. That is a man confident in his relationship, and I appreciate you exuding that confidence, Brendan Marks. All right, so you took us there. Tell me about what that felt like.
Yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to be sitting right behind the NC State bench. And so, I feel like I was kind of seeing my emotions play out in front of me from the way that the NC State's players were expressing it. Casey Morsell was one of my favorites. There was about 2 minutes left in the game, and North Carolina was down at that point, 7 or 8 points or whatever, and it certainly didn't look good. And Casey Morsell's looking around, all of his teammates are pumping their fists, and DJ Burns is starting to dance on the sidelines. Casey Morsell's like, "It's not over yet, guys. I've seen this before. I know." So it just kind of had this feeling of surely this cannot happen. And every day when we came into the arena, coming in, I think on Tuesday, everybody walked in and said, all right, well, NC State should be able to handle Louisville, and maybe that'll save Kevin Keats' job. And that happens. And then Tuesday, you walk in, and you're like, all right, I think NC State could probably beat Syracuse. And then day 3 walks in, it's, oh, man, 3 days and 3 days, and it's Duke. Like, ooh, this one could get ugly. And then they beat Duke, and it's like, okay, well, why can't NC State beat Virginia? And then it gets to the last day, and it's like, listen, there is no logical reason for this to be happening. But quite frankly, I'm tired of picking against NC State. Clearly something bigger is going on here. It was just incredible to watch. It was one of those things truly that happens in March, and it's magic, where a team just finds a meteor, hitches onto it, and we'll see how far they can ride it for. I'm not going to pick against them anytime soon.
I think they're going to beat Texas Tech, and I like them just taking a swing at Kentucky. And as I said this earlier, now that sports wagering is legal, I'm not saying you should, but I think it'll be interesting. Plus 500, State gets to the Sweet 16. I don't think is a terrible swing for whatever, $1 on it. That's fine. Brendan Marks from The Athletic is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So I want to get back to, let me start with the Duke game, because I think we all expected, because we had seen this about 10 days prior in Raleigh, that State played with them for 30 minutes and then kind of went away. And third game in 3 days, I think a lot of us expected it to be the same way. State got off to a good start. Duke battled back. It was a game a 3-point game at halftime. But then State came out of the locker room and hammered them again right out of the gate. Was that more about State or more about Duke? Because this is now, 4 straight halves? Well, no, the second half against Carolina, they were better in the first 5 minutes. But it's 3 out of the last 4 halves where Duke has had trouble starting.
Yeah, to me, I think it says a lot about both of them. Obviously, NC State, credit to the belief there, but equally as impressive, or impressing upon me, not impressive at all, was the way that Duke came out. Listen, I don't know about you, but if I lost to my rival for the second time in a row on my home court a couple of days before, lost a share of the ACC regular season because of it, I would probably be pretty unhappy, and I would come out and play like that. And Duke did not do that. Duke did not do that at all. And, we've ragged on Kyle Filipowski, or the national media, which I guess I am kind of part of, has ragged on Kyle Filipowski most of this season, have said, he's got this bad body language, yada, yada. He was the one guy who looked like he was willing to do whatever it took. Yep. I thought Kyle Filipowski played great in that game. I thought he looked great. Mark Mitchell hit 2 3-pointers. Mm-hmm. But the rest of Duke's team looked soft, and that is the word that keeps coming to mind with the Blue Devils. They're 0-5 in games in which they allow 80 points this season, and I just wonder where some of the resilience is. Jeremy Roach has been terrific most of this season. He has not been himself the last 2 games. He has not looked right. He has not looked comfortable. Quite frankly, he's been pretty detrimental to Duke, especially at critical moments, and I thought it was fascinating in the post-game locker room when, completely unprompted, Kyle Filipowski said something to the effect of, if we come out entitled, if we come out expecting to win, then this is going to happen to us again, and it's the same thing that happened to us against Tennessee last year. Other teams want it more than Duke, and 32 games into the season, I don't think that's what you want to hear if you're John Shire.
I 100% agree. I talked to I think I talked to you after the Duke-Carolina game, where Jeremy Roach looked like he was in a rush the entire first half. He was better at the start of the second half, but I thought he spent the whole first half trying to win the game, trying to do too much, and he was forcing it, and it didn't work. Kyle got better in the second half and was great, really. Most of the second half was really good, but Jeremy really never got it going, and then this is the second game in a row where Jeremy Roach wasn't really there. Let me get to the Tar Heels now. Like I've said this all along about Duke. They are matchup dependent to the Final Four. I think they have enough talent to get there, but they are matchup dependent. And like I've seen people pick Vermont. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But Houston is the kind of a team that is so physical that they can't score, so maybe that'll work in Duke's favor, but Tennessee really couldn't score last year either, and it didn't matter. Let me get to the Tar Heels. I was surprised that they didn't have an answer, but that might have been more about NC State than about them, and they didn't have Ryan or Ingram, knocking down a bunch of threes to kind of stretch the defense out. It really became all about RJ.
Yeah, I mean, RJ Davis ended up having 30 points or whatever, but it was for most of the second half and especially the last 10 minutes, it was a lot of watching RJ Davis play offense, even for guys on the court. It was a lot of four guys standing around and RJ Davis trying to, do his best Kemba Walker impression. And most games that is probably good enough, but he needs help if North Carolina is going to make this a legitimate run, and I'm not too worried about North Carolina. I mean, again, I think you look at NC State, you look at the fire they had all week. The idea of playing with house money is something that I think is pretty powerful at that point. But for the people who are like seeing that and are North Carolina fans and are like, oh my God, I'm worried now. None of North Carolina's last four national title teams won the ACC tournament. In the grand scheme of things, this team came in riding a tremendous win streak. I don't think losing is the worst case scenario. I think it gives you a little of a breather, takes some of the pressure off, gives you a little bit of a reset. I think it also humbles you a little bit. And I think North Carolina probably needed all of those things going into March. The thing that I would say about North Carolina, strictly from a basketball perspective, is RJ Davis was great. I actually thought Armando Bacot was pretty good most of that game. I was a little surprised that Hubert Davis didn't adjust more to what DJ Burns was doing and how Kevin Keatts was using him. I thought there were times when UNC's double teams were a little bit slow, its traps were a little bit slow. The biggest thing to me for North Carolina is Harrison Ingram has to be the third triplet, and Harrison Ingram was not up to that level the other night. And if he is not there, I don't know how far RJ Davis and Armando Bacot alone can take you in this tournament. If Harrison Ingram is playing like the Harrison Ingram who was an all-ACC pick, who we've seen all year, who basically led the league in rebounding, then I think North Carolina is absolutely a Final Four team. But if it's just going to be those two guys, things get a little tougher, and especially because North Carolina does not have an easy draw. I think that West bracket actually has a number of pitfalls. Obviously, the biggest of them all would be a potential Elite Eight matchup with Caleb Love, and that's a game I am manifesting to have.
That would be one of the greatest things ever, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be so much fun. It would be so much fun because I figure Caleb would either go, 15 of 17 for about 40 points, or he would go 3 of 18 for 7 points.
Yeah.
But listen, I think a lot of North Carolina fans, especially if you haven't watched a ton of Arizona this year, those bad Caleb Love performances have been a lot fewer and further between. He has been pretty efficient this year. Obviously, he was the Pac-12 Player of the Year, which I still find hilarious. He's the last Pac-12 Player of the Year. But he has been much better. If that game does come to fruition, it would be hard for me to pick against Arizona and just how motivated Caleb would be in that game.
So R.J. Davis could be the last ACC Player of the Year, too. That's what I'm based on Clemson's lawsuit to leave the ACC. Brendan Marks from The Athletic is joining us here at Brendan R. Marks on Twitter. Yeah, it all. I guess it depends on who you talk to, whether or not the North Carolina bracket is hard or it's easy. Because I look at at least the top half of it, and I go, yeah, I don't see North Carolina having any trouble with anybody there. And at the bottom, yeah, Arizona would be super hard. So I wouldn't be, but whoever you face in the Elite Eight should be a difficult out. I mean, and the truth is even in the Sweet 16, although I think North Carolina might have even gotten a little bit of a break there, because I'm not sure how good Alabama is. And if North Carolina plays the defense that they can play, I think North Carolina will be fine. That's what I've always thought about that team, is that when they turn their defense up, then I think they'll be great. Did you think the ACC was in any way jobbed by the committee?
No, the exact opposite, actually. The ACC should be sending flowers to the selection committee. Jim Phillips should be writing a handwritten note. The fact that the ACC ended up getting 5 teams in that's a best case scenario. Listen, walking into the arena on Saturday afternoon, I thought 3 ACC teams were in. I thought it was UNC, Duke, and Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Virginia had effectively played its way out. I am still shocked that Virginia ended up getting in. I thought Pitt is the best of those 3 bubble teams between Pitt, Virginia, and Wake Forest.
I agree.
think Pitt is the best basketball team. I think they're playing the best as well. But they didn't have the resume. I get it. Wake Forest, same thing, didn't have the resume. I get it. It's hard. And so the fact that Virginia got in and NC State got the auto bid, that's a best-case scenario for the ACC.
Yep.
Next year, what's the rate going to be out of whatever all those teams you're going to get? It might be ugly, but 3 years in a row, the ACC has gotten 5 teams in now. They've put a team in the Final Four, at least one team the last 2 years. I don't think it's inconceivable that they get another one this year, especially, as you said, given the way that North Carolina has got its bracket shaping up.
Yeah, and I mean, again, matchup dependent for Duke. If somebody knocks off Houston along the way, I think, given the right set of circumstances, certainly an awakening Jeremy Roach. I think there's an opportunity for the Blue Devils to go far. But again, I think they're totally matchup dependent. It would be nice if Caleb Foster was ready to go, but we talked to Chris Carrawell yesterday, and he didn't sound like somebody who was expecting to see Caleb Foster. Certainly not this week, but maybe if you get to the second week, maybe he can come back. But look, Duke's going to have to deal with all of it. I wish I'd seen Sean Stewart play better the last couple of games, because I thought the game. I guess it was against NC State where he was so good. I thought we were starting to see Sean Stewart kind of come alive. All right, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked David Teal before. I'm bad at brackets, and I've decided that I'm going to not only change who picks my bracket, but how. So I'm picking brackets based on the best movie in those particular schools' area. So I got 2 games tonight. We've got Howard Wagner, and we're going Mr. Smith Goes to Washington or The Godfather. The opening scene of The Godfather was shot on Staten Island, which is where Wagner is. So who you got there?
I honestly, I love them both, but I got to go Godfather.
Yeah,
I can't say no to the Godfather.
Probably correct there. And then Virginia, Colorado State, Evan Almighty, starring Steve Carell, against Blades of Glory, which was filmed in its entirety in Colorado Springs.
Give me Blades of Glory there, and I think the on-court basketball pick there is the same as my movie pick.
Thank you very much for indulging, Brendan Marks. I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you. Hope everyone has a good time watching the games, and may the brackets and betting be ever in your favor.
Yeah, all we can do is hope. All we can do is hope that the dart hits in the right spot. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, that's Brendan Marks from The Athletic. I mean, honestly, I've never seen – if somebody can tell me what Evan Almighty is about. I mean, Steve Carell's in it. It's got to be funny.
I love Steve.
Right? It's got to be funny. Blades of Glory. Again, it's a movie about figure skating.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
So
I haven't seen it either, so don't feel bad.
It is what it is. Now, I've seen the other 2. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It's a great movie. Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Great old movie. The Godfather is The Godfather. It's one of the maybe 10 greatest films of all time. It just happens to be super long.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour movie.
It's a commitment. That's like the Titanic.
Right. Well, no, even the Titanic was
like 3.5.
Was it 3.5?
Mm-hmm. It was 2 VHSs. I remember that.
That's long. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
No, not yet. I need to.
Oppenheimer was a long movie too. We watched it a couple of weeks ago.
Well, it's one of those movies I've
good.
heard that it's so good you don't even tell that it's long. Like it doesn't even strike you as being long because it's so good.
I needed breaks.
Okay.
But
well, that
yes,
happens.
But I'm glad because I could hit pause.
Right.
Do what I needed to do.
Didn't have to miss anything.
I didn't miss anything.
Yep.
But yeah, obviously it won a bunch of Academy Awards, and it should have. It was an unbelievable movie. All right, we have more brackets I want to get to. There are 2 games tonight. So Evan Almighty and Blades of Glory for Virginia and Colorado State. Howard and Wagner, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and The Godfather. Those are your picks. You can hit all of those. We'll give you more brackets, and we will place bets. Exciting. All of that's coming up next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Have you ever had a mammogram?
I could never really afford one until now.
New job with benefits?
It's the same job with NC Medicaid.
I heard they're covering more people.
Well, you can earn more and still get NC Medicaid. Full coverage, low or no copays, prescriptions too.
Was it hard to enroll?
I went to the NC Medicaid website. Took a bit of time, but it's worth it.
Are you anxious about the test?
Not as much now that I have NC Medicaid.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
North Carolina, we are finally in it. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is officially live here in our great state. And right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you wager your first $5. That's right. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up, and then you can bet on everything from the money line, who's going to win, total points, which team will cut the nets down, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you make your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina State Legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the Chief Operating Officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Need money for college? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, then Next NC Scholarship could pay for more than half, if not all, of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. And it doesn't have to be repaid. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university, and possibly more. Get all the details about the new Next NC Scholarship and see how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org. Org.
This is Adam Gold.
Anti-vax, anti-sax. Who's going to say no to that on the campaign trail? You can put that on a bumper sticker. You can slap that on the podium when Aaron Rodgers is at the campaign rally. You're not going to be a football player for the Jets and be on the ticket and campaign. You can't do both.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We're going to place bets a little bit. We're going to stretch. First, we got a hockey game tonight between the Hurricanes and the New York Islanders. And we don't know yet. The Hurricanes did not skate. I'm going to guess that Pyotr Kochetkov will get the start because we saw Frederik Andersen on Sunday night in Ottawa. Of course, with a day off in between, if Rod wanted to flip Andersen and Kochetkov and go back with Freddie today, that's certainly fine. What they're going to get, you'll get, they have the game today. They have back-to-back Thursday, Friday, with Thursday at home against Philadelphia. Friday, they go to Washington. Talk about an emotional comeback for Yevgeny Kuznetsov. Dmitry Orlov also playing in D.C. And then Sunday, they're here against Toronto. So is it possible if they go Kochetkov today, that means Kochetkov would get the second game. Kochetkov played very well. Did he play very well against Toronto? I actually don't think he played all that well until late. So do you flip it around and do you give them a different look? Do you say Freddie Andersen? So it's very possible that they flip to Freddie again today and then go Kochetkov against Philadelphia on no, that would be wrong. I would have it the wrong way. Never mind.
Well, we just have so many goalies. It's kind of hard to.
Well, we have three. There's three on the roster,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing that rosters do
It
expand.
is.
Roster sizes expand, so as long as you're under the salary cap, and the Hurricanes are significantly under that, you're fine. Antti Ranta is on basically a non-roster spot because they sent him again to Chicago. So he is not even on the roster right now. When the Hurricanes send their roster out before each game, there's no Antti Ranta on it.
Yeah.
But right now the Hurricanes have great options, and that's the other thing that they have up front are great options in terms of power play combinations. If you get to overtime, and the Islanders, I wonder I haven't looked at it yet, but I will.
I have, because that's going to be one of my
Yeah,
bets.
overtime. 23 games this year.
It's plus 360.
That's normal.
I know. It should
Like,
be.
wait, it should be for the Islanders.
less.
Especially since two of these three games have gone to overtime.
Plus 150 instead of
Minus.
plus
Should be
3.
minus money at this point. If something happens 2/3 of the time, now granted, the Island it's 1/3 of the time, so that actually does make sense. 23 of 67 games the Islanders have played. Yeah, 23 of 67, which is a shade more than 2/3. So plus 360 sounds normal, but that is normally the number where we get to overtime.
Yeah.
So all of that, we'll get that in when we place bets. But first,
Yes, we got to stretch it out. And today's a good day to stretch it out and get some ice cream. Yep, you heard me correctly, because Dairy Queen, I don't really know where there are many locations of just Dairy Queens that aren't in malls, but if you know of one, you can get a free ice cream cone today.
Outer Banks.
No.
Seriously.
It might be kind of a drive to do that. But if you know of one by you can get a free cone, because today is officially like the first day of spring. They say because of the equinox, today is the day that they're considering spring. So that is why they're giving away free ice cream cones, just in case you wanted to. You know, I love to tempt you with sweet things. However, probably shouldn't have these sweet things. So there was a list. Have you ever heard of those books, Eat This, Not That?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they ranked the 25 most unhealthy drinks on the planet. I don't know of all 25. I'm not even going to say all that they have in this list. But I will say Welch's grape juice is on there. Mountain Dew, I know, is real popular around here, especially in my household with certain someone. Starbucks Frappuccinos. Sorry to disappoint you. Those milkshakes with coffee. Arizona sweet teas. Monster Energy drink is number 3. And then the top 2 ones, very deceptive. You know those naked juice drinks? They're called naked.
Yes.
They're not actually like naked, but...
Yeah, they don't render the person drinking them naked.
Yeah, so those take the top 2 spots of having the most sugar in them. So steer clear of all of those because you might as well just drink a soda if you want to. They did do some mentions too saying that might surprise you. Vitamin water, it has the word vitamin in it, but no, it's deceptive. It's got a lot of sugar in it. V8 Splash also, they say per ounce, it's about the same as a Yoo-hoo.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you ever had those growing up.
Yoo-hoos?
Chocolate drink. It's
Yoo-hoo,
not.
No, it's not water. It's whey based. But Yoo-hoos are great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they're delicious.
I grew up on Yoo-hoos.
It's, that chocolate mystery beverage. So
Yeah, it's certainly not milk.
No.
No, it's
not.
very watery.
Don't let anyone tell you it's milk. So another thing, though, that you might be interested in drinking, I am not. This sounds disgusting. Pizza-flavored beer. Yep, you heard me. Pizza-flavored beer.
What?
It arrives next month.
Yeah.
New Belgium, they partnered with Tombstone.
Wait. New Belgium?
Yes.
New Belgium
They're
is
legit.
one of my 2 favorite breweries.
Okay, well then you might actually try this then.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anything that New Belgium puts pizza flavored beer in a bottle,
you'll drink it.
I'll probably
okay.
like it.
Well,
yeah.
it'll be here in a month. So, and it's
Okay.
an IPA, so it's at 7%.
Of course it is. It's an Italian pale ale, not an India pale ale.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's I see what you did there. So they're selling it under the IPA brand of Voodoo Ranger. A lot of people might know that, and they're describing it as having hints of crispy crust, tangy tomato sauce, savory herbs, and spices with a pepperoni finish. How are you doing all of this? I don't know. You can sign up to win it, though, if you don't want to pay $50 for it. 4-pack. $50.
Right.
They'll start selling it in select markets on April 7th because that is National Beer Day. Yes, let's go.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see you try this. I think you absolutely should. But you could sign up to also win some at voodooranger.com. If you feel so inclined. This article also talked more about pizza, and I know Chick-fil-A is really popular here too. So just in case you were curious about this, Maryland, I know you know that area very well. Chick-fil-A is now making a spin-off restaurant called Little Blue Menu. And they're going to have Chick-fil-A pizza pie. It's topped with their chicken nuggets, pickles, and Chick-fil-A sauce. I feel like...
Well, that just sounds like a chicken sandwich.
I know, on a pizza. I feel like after you've had a lot of pizza beer, then you would eat something like this. I don't know, yeah.
I mean, is that on top of like tomato sauce and...
Chick-fil-A sauce. That is the tomato sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like a chicken sandwich to me. So
It
I'm not.
It's just like an open-faced
Chick-fil-A
sandwich.
At that point, I'm not put off by it.
Instead of
Yeah.
a filet. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe you could drink a bunch of pizza beer, get you a Chick-fil-A pizza, and then make some bets.
Place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right. I think I went either. Oh no! Yesterday was a whole bunch of futures.
Yes, yeah.
So we're still nowhere
you were
near
safe
anything.
yesterday. I was not safe yesterday. I did not do well yesterday, but that's okay. That's fine because they didn't go into OT with the Caps and the Flames. However, for me kicking things off today, I am taking that. The Carolina Hurricanes in New York taking on the Islanders like we've mentioned today. And because of their track record, I feel like this might be a no-brainer. Use some bonus bets. Plus 360, will it go into OT? Yes.
All right. So I'm going to save my Hurricanes wager for the end. We've got Howard and Wagner tonight in the first 4. we have Brendan Winnett on all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Brendan works for Howard University. So maybe this is hey, throwing my man some love. But Howard is a 3.5-point favorite tonight.
Yeah.
Howard and under 128.5.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Howard and the under 128.5. First 4 game. So there you go.
Yeah, you're just putting
Love
good
it.
juju out there.
Absolutely.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm here for.
My next one, that's what we do. So, Winnipeg Jets taking on the New York Rangers. Also in New York at the same time. I don't know how this guy is still plus money because he scores a lot for the Rangers. Artemi Panarin, anytime goal scorer, plus 180. Duh. I just feel like that's a given.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. 2 in hockey. We're going to go. The Buffalo Sabres are playing good hockey right now.
All of a sudden.
Right? I'm not saying they're in the playoff race, but fringy. Sabres are in Vancouver. Vancouver's got a bunch of games coming up against teams that they're fighting for the top of the Central Division. No, they're in the Pacific Division. Vancouver's like kind of out in front. Give me the Sabres outright to win it. Over 6.5. High-scoring Sabres win over Vancouver. That's plus 400.
Okay. See, and my next one, I almost picked the Flyers game because I wanted to go into OT. That way they're tired when they come here.
Right.
But I'm going to look at the Columbus Blue Jackets and Detroit Red Wings. Red Wings have been hot. I'm guessing they might be hot in the third period in case it's a close one. So give me them. Highest scoring period, third period, plus 190.
All right, this is the third time I've done this. It does seem like it's very possible, and I love the value of this. So Hurricanes playing the Islanders. Hurricanes win. Sebastian Aho, anytime goal.
Yeah.
And overtime.
Oh.
So if Aho scores and the Canes win in overtime,
I feel like this is a good parlay.
It's plus 1655.
Wow. What?
That seems to me like that could happen every game.
Yeah. Sounds like it has happened multiple times.
I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened. This is the third time I've done it.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. So Aho, anytime goal scorer.
Anytime goal.
Going into OT.
Canes win.
Oh. Okay. I like this.
Yep.
And people have bonus bets if they've been signing up, so this is a perfect opportunity to use them.
Every company that has started a mobile betting has offered like $1 billion in bonus bets.
Yes.
And by all means,
this is the time to use it.
Take advantage. If they're giving you money,
right? Might as well use it. It's
Just
like
take
us
it.
with units. It's the same thing.
Get your kids to sign up. I'm kidding. They can't do it. So don't get your kids to sign up. But it's a pretty good deal. Anyway, we'll do the wall of sound next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're done waiting, North Carolina, aren't we? FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is officially live here in North Carolina. Adam Gold, let me show you how easy it is. Just download the FanDuel app and experience America's #1 sportsbook. And new customers right now can get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you wager your first $5. Hey, there are 2 basketball games tonight in the first 4. You can pick winners in both of them, parlay them together, spend $5, and get an additional $250. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold, and get your $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Oh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Todrick.
This month's tickets pack $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 2.93 to 4.24. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Tim Donnelly here, and I want to let you know March is a critical time to check your home's windows. Call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you get 2 windows free. Plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com now.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
You know what my kid did for the entirety of his spring break? He played golf every day, threw his bag over his shoulder and walked. Would you like to do that? Oh, wait, it hurts when you get up in the morning? Walking a golf course, up and down hills, all of that? It bothers you because you have joint pain? Adam Gold here from my friends at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, and we are going to give you lasting joint pain relief without surgery, without drugs, without downtime. In fact, QC Kinetics is transforming lives. Advanced treatments that harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue can be had at QC Kinetics. Pro athletes have been using this for years. Now you can too. You can walk, you can run, you can climb, you can play, you can move again pain-free. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 919-400-5473, 919-400-5473, in Cary, in Clayton, in Raleigh, in Wake Forest. QC Kinetics.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Domi coming in, Kochetkov comes out of the crease to challenge. Domi comes in. Kochetkov! Oh, what a time to unveil that weapon. In this shootout, here comes Gensel. In on Samsonov. He shoots, he scores! Jake Gensel gets the extra point for Carolina. And the Hurricanes, with a miraculous comeback, winning 5-4 in the shootout.
That was a fun game in Toronto. Hopefully there'll be more fun to be had on Long Island, and the Hurricanes could go 3-0 on this road trip and extend to a 4-game winning streak. Not sure that finishing first in the Metropolitan Division matters. Might it matter in a series with the Rangers? Possibly. But there's no guarantee that anybody's surviving round one. We've seen it too many times. Boston set the NHL record for wins and points in a season last year and got beat in the opening round. There are no guarantees. No guarantees Carolina's going to play, that they're going to win their opening round series. None. So I'm not as concerned about finishing atop the Metropolitan Division. Here's the significance of it. It would mean you're playing well. Because you're not going to pass the Rangers without playing well. Hurricanes have 90 points with 14 games to play. Carolina's on 68 games. And I don't know, if you go in your last 14, you go 10-4.
That's good.
Right? 10-4 would be, that probably doesn't win you the division. Right? 10-4 probably won't win the Metro. But I think 110 points would be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Another good year for this club. And remember what it's really about. It's really about next month and beyond. And it's really good to see Kuznetsov and Jake Gensel playing well. We'll talk about tonight's game with Mike Leboff of the Action Network coming up in just a few minutes. Actually, even more reason to talk with Mike Leboff because we could talk about futures. I wonder what the additions of Kuznetsov and Gensel have meant to Carolina's odds, because they definitely shifted.
Yeah.
Remember at the beginning of the season, they were the favorites, the betting favorites to win the Stanley Cup. And middle of the year, they kind of slipped, not to the middle of the pack, but, not among the first choices.
The greatest start,
No,
yeah.
and they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be a better choice than Florida or Vancouver, Winnipeg. But we'll talk to Mike Leboff about that because, people can actually now
legally bet.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right. In this Wall of Sound, a former president gives you his bracket pick to win it all. A former president gives you his bracket pick to win it all. Let's start with women's college basketball. What? Yes, women's college basketball. One of my futures bets was Iowa to win it all. I think it was plus 700. Right, they were the second choice. LSU was the third choice at plus 750. That was the matchup last year. Let's start with Rebecca Lobo, a multiple national champion at UConn, on why Iowa might be in some trouble.
The most vulnerable, I would say, and I think only because of the bracket they're in, could be Iowa. I think Iowa has the toughest bracket. Not only, granted, they would only have to play either UCLA, their 2 seed, or LSU, their 3 seed. But both of those teams, both UCLA and LSU, are very capable of getting to a Final Four. Both of those teams have the pieces and the components to win a national championship.
They do. And, of course, LSU beat Iowa a year ago. Here's Andrea Carter from ESPN on the pressure that's on Iowa.
Caitlin Clark has so many eyes on her. And the pressure that she has, it's not just because the eyes are on her. She has risen to every occasion and she has blasted through, just obliterated anything in her way when it comes to breaking records, when it comes to getting wins. She has not only done it, but she's done it in huge fashion. The bracket is extremely tough for Caitlin Clark and Iowa, and her margin for error is so thin. So there is pressure to the left, there's pressure to the right, there's pressure in front, there's pressure behind, and I don't think anyone can truly compare. She has handled it with grace, she's handled it well, but the pressure is ultimate right now.
Pressure makes diamonds. That's all I'm saying.
It does.
That's all I'm saying. Pressure makes diamonds. All right, now to UConn. And actually, that's probably giving it away. Barack Obama, the President of the United States, the 44th President of the United States, who famously made bracket picks way back in the day, made his picks on a podcast hosted by John Calipari, the Kentucky head coach, and Craig Robinson, who used to be the coach at Oregon State and is also his brother-in-law.
The first year I did this, 2009, right? I'd been sworn in. I picked North Carolina. This is the one with Lawson and Hansborough, and they won. My bracket was beautiful, and people were pretty impressed. They thought, look at the President of the United States. He's in the top 4% of all the people who enter in their brackets. And I was kind of feeling it, and I thought, you know what? I think this is what's going to happen every year. And I'm pretty sure each year I've lost since then. So I have not necessarily picked a winner, and I'm a little sad about that.
But you've been a good sport because you have continued to make picks.
My attitude is, that it gives people great pleasure with all the intelligence I have available to me. The CIA, the NSA, all that input. Right. When they beat me, they feel good, and I want to give people that satisfaction.
He picked UConn to win it all. Right, he picked Connecticut to win it all, which frankly is chalk, but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. If you think they're going to win it all, then go for it. Have them win it all. Sean Farnham from ESPN on the favorite.
UConn is as tested and as good as anybody. We talk about this all the time. There's not a great team in college basketball. If we had a reigning champion, I don't like defending. So if we had a reigning NCAA championship team that went 31-3, what would we be calling them? Great. And yet, when it comes to UConn, we're like, I don't know. No.
They don't have any holes.
Like, they have no holes. They got multiple dudes. I mean, you look at Tristan Newton and Cam Spencer, the way they help run that offense. In the semifinals, they combined for 18 assists, and they both went over 20. They have 45 points and 18 assists between the two of them. All right, and then you got the big fella underneath, and then a cast of thousands around them that just clearly understand their role, accept their role, know how they have to play. I love this UConn team. I really do.
Here's the thing about it. Judged against past teams, even past UConn teams, they're not that great. They're really good, but and they might very well win a second NCAA championship in a row. It's not only is it not out of the realm of possibility, it's probably a 20% chance, I don't know, something like that, to win it all. But we're only judging them based on the field. And overall, the quality of the team, not the quality of the athlete, the quality of the teams in college basketball has been diminished because the best talent stays so short in college. The best talent is gone after 1 year. The teams that have been around, the players who have been around for 3, 4 into their 5th year, those teams in general, as it has turned out over time, those teams have been better in terms of being able to play ball. The truth is, North Carolina is one of the best teams. Here's what has typically won NCAA championships before this era of the best players go to college for 1 year because they have to and then move on. Typically, you would need at least one lottery pick, but basically 3 pros, NBA pros, not guys who are going to play in Germany or Italy or Australia, like NBA pros. You would need one lottery pick and like 2 other guys who can be pros in order to win national championships in this era of basketball. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I think teams that have older players have an advantage. Now, you want both. You want a couple of those super talented guys, but you also want a bunch of experience and experience that plays. I do think and UNC has a ton of that. As for, do they have NBA pros? I don't think so, but I still think that they have a great chance to get to a Final Four, and then you get to a Final Four, anything can happen. But there you go. Barack Obama picks a bracket.
Right.
He takes UConn, and why not?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, that'll make 40-some-odd% of the people mad.
Yeah, I know. Well, one of my brackets has UConn winning everything.
Does it? What do you have one of your brackets?
I have
Are you one
multiple.
of those people?
I have
One of those
multiple.
people?
Well, we have our silly one. I have a legit one.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then I haven't done the coin toss one yet. Have you ever done that?
No, just flip a coin for each one?
Just flip a coin.
Yeah,
I did.
That's
last
giving
year.
it to my son, Jack. Jack doesn't really, he only watches the ACC. He has
Right.
no clue who's good outside of the ACC, none at all.
Right.
So he'll fill out a bracket and he'll have, Dad, I have Creighton winning it.
Yeah.
Why? Because?
They showed up heads. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, Mike LeBoff from the Action Network on the Canes and the Islanders. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Bring on the madness.
O'Connell with 1 second. Left wing 3 on the way. Banks it in. He He got it! I don't believe it!
From the first round to the final buzzer, we'll bring you every winning moment.
Horn's got it. He'll dribble out the clock, and the Pack's going to win. NC State goes to the ACC title game for the first time since 2007.
College basketball tournament action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by Carolina Ale House, Fairway Green, and Bailey's Fine Jewelry.
It's March in North Carolina, and we are kicking things off again, so you know what that means. No, I'm not talking about pollen. I'm talking about the huge college basketball tournament that so many of us have filled out brackets for. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and if you really want to spice things up for the tournament, you can download the BetMGM app or log into your existing account and spin the March matchups wheel. That'll give you a 10 through 16 seed team for the tournament, and if your squad makes it to the final 16, you'll win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets. The best part of all of this game is absolutely free, so you got nothing to lose here. But if basketball isn't your thing, you can still pick so many different things with your favorite sport, like same-game parlays, live bets, straight bets. That's only scratching the surface, and only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Imagine pulling up to PNC Arena on your very own Hurricanes Harley-Davidson motorcycle. That dream can become a reality. The Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes are teaming up to give the Ultimate Caniac a custom Hurricanes 2023 Harley-Davidson Softail. The bike will be given away live on the ice at the game on April 5th, and you might just win it. Go to caniacsbike.com. That's caniacsbike.com for your chance to win this custom-painted beauty of a bike. Do it now. Enter today.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. Let me talk to homeowners out there. You know the worst thing you can have in your house, termites. The last thing you want to hear is you have termites because that eats away at your foundation. You know, Coach Pete has determined that there are financial termites as well that eat away at your retirement planning. So what you need to do is get to Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex, and make sure that financial termites aren't eating away at your savings, at your future. Coach Pete DeRuta is an expert in financial planning for retirement, and all you need to do is text Adam to 600-700, and automatically you get one of Coach Pete's best-selling books. He's got a bunch of those on retirement planning and the total customized retirement plan for you. It's a $1,000 value. Yours free if you text Adam to 600-700 right now and let Coach Pete DeRuta help you plan for your retirement. Text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete DeRuta.
This is Adam Gold.
That was a big deal to me this morning. I'm sorry if the heathens that we had on for the roundtable, Jeremy and Travis,
my people,
didn't even understand Jurgen Klopp.
It does sound different. Feels like a clogging thing. Like I should be river dancing.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Canes and the Islanders. You know what this gives me? An excuse to talk to my friend Michael LeBoff from the Action Network on the radio and tell everybody that he has the greatest Twitter handle going on that website.
Excuse me?
At the, what? Other than you. He has no underscores. I should say non-underscore division. At the Big Lebowski on Twitter. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm hanging in. The Islanders are trying to break me, but I'm doing my best.
Also, does the
here.
Islanders Anxiety podcast? There's been a lot of anxiety of late. So let's start with the Islanders. It was a rocky start when Patrick Waugh took over for Lane Lambert. I think they were like 4-5-3 in their first 12 games, and I think they won like 6 in a row and put themselves right there. I had declared emphatically that they were going to catch and pass Philadelphia and ultimately finish third in the division. I think you and I texted about it. What's happened since, because they've lost 4 straight?
I think it's that they thought that they had done it. Like they kind of rested on their laurels. And this team has done that on a game-by-game basis sometimes. They'll have a good first period. And then they're the worst second period team in the entire NHL. So I feel like they almost just let their guard down after they do something well, and then it catches up with them. And since they don't have, the type of depth and talent that other teams boast ahead of them, it takes them a lot longer to find their game. So right now they're in another one of their little patented downswings. It's crazy. They've lost, I believe, 37 or 38 games this season when you tally up all the overtime losses and the regulation losses. And they've lost one game in a row 4 times. That's crazy to me.
Michael Leboff of the Action Network is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I remember when this was a playoff matchup last year, we just assumed that there would be no goals in it because traditionally both teams are stingy when it comes to giving up goals. We ended up having a lot more goals in that series than we expected, and the 3 games this year have produced 25 total goals, 7, 9, and 9. And part of that, obviously, the Islanders have won 2 of the 3. The other one went to overtime, so it's not like the Islanders haven't scored. But you guys are giving up more goals. That I was stunned to see that the Islanders are 21st in the league in giving up goals. Has the problem been defense, team or otherwise, or has the problem been maybe Ilya Sorokin hasn't quite been as good this year as he was in the past few?
Yeah, it's like I would say a 60-40 split. Most of the blame certainly lays with the team defense. They were giving up more scoring chances than any team in the league. Besides San Jose, when Lane Lambert lost his job, and that was pretty much what caused him to lose his job, was how abject they were defensively. Sorokin had faced the heaviest workload in the NHL. I think he had at one point had faced more shots than any goalie in the NHL except for Alexander Georgiev. But Georgiev had played 12 more games or something like that than Sorokin. So it's been a really tough season for him. I think he's faced the most challenging workload of any goalie this side of San Jose this season. But now it's starting to rest on his shoulders a bit because the team has, with not including the past couple games, they have been better defensively under Waugh, and they need Sorokin to find his game and click into form. He is the key to them, getting hot down the stretch and grabbing a hold of one of these playoff spots because it's still there for the taking somehow. And I mean, even that third spot is certainly up for grabs if they can find a way to win, 9 or 10 of these last 15 and time the wins and make sure you win the games against Philadelphia and Detroit. But it's on Sorokin, I think, at this point now to find his form because we're running out of time and the defense has improved under Waugh.
And before we get to the matchup, and I have one question about Patrick Waugh, just to illustrate the point. The Islanders and Washington each have a game in hand on Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got 76 points. Washington has 75. The Islanders 73. So any one of those 3 can end up finishing third in the Metropolitan Division, and they can. And their wild card is also there, given how Detroit has completely cratered, having lost 7 of their last 8. I believe it is. Detroit has fallen on hard times. What did Waugh change or try to change in the short term after taking over for Lane Lambert?
I think the biggest change is you're going to see a lot more action and a lot more. You're a Liverpool fan, so you'll know like that clock ball where you're pressing, no matter where the ball is on the field. Like the Islanders are putting pressure on, or supposed to be putting some hard pressure on the puck carrier, not too dissimilar to what we see a lot of times from Carolina.
Right.
Winning those battles, whether it's in the neutral zone, offensive zone, or defensive zone. With Lambert, they played a much more sagging style, a zone defense that basically gave up the blue line and dared you to beat them. They try to pack the middle, and it just didn't click with this group this season. So now it's much more of an emphasis on man-to-man coverage and all over the ice. And so they're going to look different, I think, if you remember those games against the Islanders, especially that one right before Christmas that was all over the place. It's going to look a lot different, but the pace is much more frenetic. Just the problem is that when they get the puck on their sticks, the Islanders, it's almost like they don't really care who they pass it to, as long as they pass it to one of the skaters on the ice. It won't matter if they're wearing red or orange and blue at this point. So it's been a frustrating watch.
Well, tonight it'll be black for the Hurricanes and white for the Islanders. Mike LeBoff from the Action Network is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, now let me get to the wagering element here. At the beginning of the season, Carolina was the betting favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Now it's Florida. Carolina went through mediocre is not really the right word, because Carolina was always, one of the playoff teams. I guess there was a day or 2 days where they were outside of the group of 8, but they had so many games in hand, it wasn't really a big deal. And they are solidly one of the top 4 in the East and probably one of the top 8 in the NHL. Odds still look pretty bullish on Carolina. Where did that number go to? And then what did Jake Gensel and Yevgeny Kuznetsov mean?
Yeah, so the Carolina Hurricanes are funny because odds makers are very careful with letting that number get out of hand at all. So even when you said mediocre, I think that's probably the right word. I like to think they were just. I tend to think that they were just finding their form and getting their act together, and they did. Obviously, they needed to find saves. They've definitely stabilized in the goaltending department. But the highest number I think I can remember in Carolina was like 13-1 around Christmas time. And as soon as they started to click a couple games together, it went right back to where they were to start the season. We've seen it shorten a bit since the trade deadline. Nothing too substantial, but yeah, like you said, it's. I think you can make a really solid argument for Florida to be the best team in not just the conference but the NHL. But the margin between them and Carolina, who I think are clearly the second best team in the East and maybe like the 4th best team in the NHL. I think you can even say maybe one of the top 3. The margin is so thin. So I think if you wanted to come to me and open a sports book and say I want to make Carolina the betting favorite to win the conference and even to win the Stanley Cup, I couldn't really poke holes in it. They are that good. So I'm not too confident about the Islanders' chances tonight. I wouldn't be too confident about their chances in the 7-game series, but I would feel pretty confident if I was a Canes fan right now about their big picture outlook.
Well, especially the way Gensel and Kuznetsov have kind of blended in seamlessly. They were playing together for a couple of games, and now Jake was playing with Sebastian Aho. My guess is that is going to stay together, and Kuznetsov and Martin Necas look like they were born to play with one another. They have very similar styles, which can be good and bad, to be perfectly honest. I think that line, as I've said, it's going to be exciting. It might make you angry, but it's going to be exciting. There are going to be scoring chances, maybe both ways, considering the way that they play. Who do you like in the West? I mean, Colorado looks like they're maybe the favorite out West, but I just watched him here, and I know they're getting some bodies back, but I think I think they are super top heavy, and I don't think they're the best team in the West. I'm not sure I don't favor Vegas again, and right now they're the 8th place team in the West.
Yeah, man, the Western Conference is an animal. It really is. It seems like the tide has shifted pretty precipitously now. When the West used to be pretty top heavy, the East was deep with Carolina, Boston, Toronto, Rangers, Penguins, etc. Now that feels like it's the West that's really deep, and you can make a good argument for 7 or 8 teams even with the Predators to at least make some noise out there. I think Colorado looks like they've found exactly what they needed in terms of Casey Middlestat. Like, they did not have a second line center all season long. So they get one. He's fitting in perfectly. He plays a good style for them. So I can see the argument that to make them the best team. I still think that the Oilers are the team I think should be the favorite in the West because of their path is going to end up shaking out a little bit easier than Colorado.
Right.
Like, Colorado is either going to have to play, Winnipeg or Dallas, if not in the first round, but almost certainly in the second round. Whereas I think you can poke holes in each of the teams in the Pacific, whether they play Los Angeles or Vegas or, when they have to play Vancouver, whoever it is. So I think the path, if you're betting the Western Conference, the path actually matters much more than the East, because the East, like, those teams are just all level. Like, flip a coin between Florida, Carolina, the Rangers, the Bruins. You can just flip a coin and feel fine with how it comes out. I think that it's a little different out West.
Michael LeBoff of the Action Network at the Big Lebowski on Twitter. My man, I appreciate your time. I'm sure that we will be communicating throughout the game tonight.
Yeah, don't be surprised if I just turn my phone off after 3-0 Canes.
Oh, stop! Don't self-medicate on this show. No, none of that. None of that stuff. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Appreciate it.
All right, so long.
You got it, Michael Bob.
He can self-medicate if he's saying the Canes are going to win on
right,
this show.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't make it happen.
No, but I like hearing it.
Yeah, well, like he said it to me the last time, too, and the Islanders won the game 5-4.
See, now he needs to. You should encourage that more.
No, but it didn't work. None of it matters.
Yeah.
See, there isn't a mystical force in the universe that controls sports.
No, it's just fun to play along.
Right. Okay, that's fair, right? Like, whatever creates more enjoyment, feel free, use it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no mystical force. Remember we talked to Tim Peeler yesterday?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, this is going NC State.
No, I'm just gonna reference it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna reference it. I asked him about, because he was talking about something. I said, it sounds to me like you're describing, NC State stuff. He goes, that's never existed, right? There's nothing mystical. There's no curse. We don't need the head of a live rooster because Jose's girlfriend put a curse on his glove. We don't need that, right? Sports is fun, and sometimes things just happen. And it just does.
That's life.
And I am not going to say, there's no jinx. I say something doesn't mean that the opposite is going to happen unless I'm making a prediction, in which case I'm just wrong.
Right.
I did not make it happen the other way.
Right.
I'm just wrong because we're not good at it.
Sometimes that happens.
We're not good at predicting.
Yeah, some people have off days, even if an athlete's good.
Exactly. I would much rather be in control of it than,
I know. That would be great.
Not in control of it. But
yes.
But there you go. All right. So pretty big news at the start of the day, right before the show started. A news story dropped. Clemson has filed suit to technically not leave the ACC, but to recontrol their media rights in case they do leave the ACC. But they're very, they want to make it clear that we're not suing to leave. We're just, if we do, we just like our rights to go with us. Yeah, that's the same thing. We'll talk about that. Plus basketball next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
North Carolina, we are finally in it. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is officially live here in our great state. And right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you wager your first $5. That's right. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up, and then you can bet on everything from the money line, who's going to win, total points, which team will cut the nets down, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you make your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina State Legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the Chief Operating Officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Think earning a degree is out of reach? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, it's time to think again. Because the new Next NC Scholarship could cover all of your tuition and fees at any of the 58 NC community colleges. Or at least half, if not all of your tuition and fees at one of the 16 public universities across the state. The best part? It doesn't have to be repaid. See if the Next NC Scholarship could be the opportunity for you and how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
If the kids want to get on the floor, they're going to get on the floor.
They'll find a way.
There are too many ways to get on the floor.
Yeah, and they've been drinking liquid courage all day.
And that is very possible. But only the ones that are old enough.
Only the older ones, yes.
So, the Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Beginning of the program today. By the way, we're going to talk brackets with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports in a little bit. He has been doing brackets, following trends, and now that we are legally allowed to use our phone and lose $5 on games, we can spend a little bit more time doing that. So Lee Sterling will help us pick brackets in just a little bit. We'll talk about the local schools, also some trends and whatnot. But right before the show began, I mean, literally, it was like 10 minutes before the show began, I saw the news item that Clemson was suing the ACC to retain control over their media rights. Now, they signed twice a grant of rights, which gives the league control over everybody's media rights, which was a mechanism to keep the league together. Florida State signed it twice, Clemson signed it twice, and now, because the other leagues are making so much more money, they're mad and they want to go. And we could talk about it any way we want. They want to go. And they'll probably go. And there will probably be others. So when I saw that news, I thought, I have my own thoughts on it, but let's find out what other people or somebody else has to say, and that's where we start the rewind. All right, now, David Teal, Richmond Times, no better reporter in the league than him. Zero better than David Teal. So I asked him point blank, when you saw the news, and he saw the news about the same time I did, what was your first thought?
Adam, that it's different than Florida State. It just feels different. And now that I've been on the mighty X platform, looking at some of the excerpts from the suit, there are some legal strategic differences in what Clemson is asking for, specifically that they're not challenging the validity of the conference controlling the media rights of teams in the conference. What Clemson is saying, once it leaves the conference, it wants those rights back. So it's a little different legal approach than Florida State's, but where it really feels different is that we're talking about a charter member of the league.
Yep.
This is not a flame-throwing newcomer like Florida State. I mean, Florida State has been a malcontent in this conference for more than a decade. Clemson has not. Clemson has not used ACC membership as a crutch to explain away its own shortcomings. That's what Florida State has done. This just, and I think it's related to the current negotiations regarding CFP, not only revenue, Adam, but format, the model of it, and the feeling that at Clemson, and I've talked to some folks down there very recently, in fact, in Washington at the tournament, and this distinction that is forming of the Power Two, obviously the SEC and the Big Ten, and the ACC essentially being cast aside as a second-class citizen because you may not be guaranteed as many bids to the college football playoff as the SEC and the Big Ten.
Well, no, of course they won't be guaranteed them, but the SEC shouldn't be guaranteed them either. They should just earn them, and they will. You're so confident that we want to be guaranteed. Like, no, man, just go do your thing. Go be who you are. You'll get all the spots you deserve, which will be more than everybody else anyway, including the Big Ten. I don't really understand that, but as we talked about, this isn't about anything other than power. It's not about anything else other than we're going to show you who runs this thing. That's fine. But ultimately, this stopped being about sports a long time ago. It is corporate. It's corporate practice. Just like I'll use hardware stores as an example. The Ace Hardware, still a chain, small. Home Depot, huge. Lowe's, huge. That's the difference. Ace Hardware, True Value Hardware, mom and pops. That's what the ACC is. And the SEC and the Big Ten are Home Depot and Lowe's. That's what it is. That's what it is. All right, real quick to quarterbacks, because Brooke Pryor from ESPN came on, and we were talking about, all the quarterbacks that have come and failed. Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. I mean, there's a long list of quarterbacks over the last couple of years that have just been abject failures. We had Trevor Lawrence go 1, Zach Wilson go 2, out. I mean, he'll be out in a minute. Trey Lance, 3, out. Justin Fields, 11, out. Matt Jones, this is 3 years ago. These guys are already on second teams. Joe Burrow was great, Tua was great, Herbert was great, and Jordan Love was great. There was something about the Jordan Love thing that really speaks to me. Anyway, here's Brooke Pryor on quarterbacks coming into the league.
It has. And you know what? I was actually reading a tweet today from Bucky Brooks, longtime analyst, everything else with NFL Network now, I believe, talking about the NFL having a quarterback evaluation and development problem. There have been more quarterbacks that have flamed out or not fit right in the NFL in the last couple of years. It feels like than there ever have been. And, of course, there's recency bias to that. But it feels like the NFL is not adapting to what these quarterbacks are doing coming out of college. And that's an NFL problem because you can't keep missing on these guys because eventually the older quarterbacks are going to age out and you're going to end up with this just absolute, quarterback desert across the league. There's the parity is going to be non-existent. It's going to be, the Patrick Mahomeses and then a wide gap and then a collection of guys at the bottom from teams that are not adapting and adjusting to what these guys have been good at in the college game. So to me, that speaks to there's got to be better evaluations, and more importantly, they need to adapt these systems to fit the skill sets that quarterbacks are coming out and stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Stop overthinking the development and the evaluation. And that's what happens this time of year is that, I think that Drake May is the second best prospect coming out. But there are teams that are going to convince themselves that it's Jaden Daniels because he's so athletic and J.J. McCarthy because he's steady. And, if game manager Brock Purdy can get to a Super Bowl, then maybe game manager J.J. McCarthy can do the same thing. But I also, as someone that has watched a lot of UNC quarterbacks, I'm still a little gun shy after the way the last couple have not panned out in the NFL. So I think that Drake May is much better than both Sam Howell and Mitch Trubisky, but man, the track record is not looking great right now. So I understand a little bit of hesitancy with that.
Past performance is not indicative of future success. I think Drake May is going to be just fine in the NFL. I'll sum this up very quickly. Every team should be prepared for their quarterback of the future to need some time adjusting and maybe not playing. Unfortunately, that's not the way they do it. Jordan Love looked like a great quarterback last year. It's probably not a terrible thing to make a quarterback wait and learn and understand the game. Packers had the luxury because Aaron Rodgers hadn't yet completely gone off the deep end.
Right, just partially.
Just partially. Now we know he is completely over the edge. But they had the opportunity to let Jordan Love watch. Are you ready to talk brackets for the last time? Not the last time, but this time. Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. We've got brackets everywhere. I am filling out brackets, Lee, based on the best movies filmed in the location of where the schools are, because I figure for me, I watch. I'm a college basketball guy. I watch a lot, and I get it wrong more often than I get it right. So I'm basically just throwing darts. Maybe you can help us just seem smarter. So let's get right to it.
Yeah. Well, here's the first thing you want to know, Adam, and I told this to a friend of mine a long time ago. Know the rules. It's just like when you take like an SAT when you're in school. So there are some brackets where the first round counts for a lot.
Right.
And if that's the case, let's say it's like the scoring is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, you got to be judicious, and you can't just have, predict 15, 20 upsets. But if it's like 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, then you can take some shots. So know the rules, just like anything else, before you start figuring out the bracket. That's very important. Just like when you play fantasy football, you got to know the rules if you want to have a better chance to win.
You got to know the side streets, main roads, before you know the side streets. I don't know. Were you throwing out all sorts of rural axioms here? All right, let's get to the Tar Heels. Lee Sterling is joining us from Paramount Sports. I know they lost their last game, but I'm not that concerned when you look at North Carolina as a number 1 seed. What do you think?
No, I'm not either. It will get a little bit tougher if Mississippi State wins the first game against Michigan State. I think Michigan State, no one thought they should have been in the tournament. So I think we might even see a coaching change there down the road.
Whoa.
Some of these established coaches, they just have had enough here. But Mississippi State could present some problems the way they play defense. But I just think that North Carolina is too much with R.J. Davis. I think they'll even get by Alabama, who just can play one style of play, and that's up-tempo. So North Carolina, I think, got a really good draw. And if they can get by Alabama, I mean, the bottom part of that bracket might be the weakest part, maybe the most fun as far as seeing upsets. I like a team like New Mexico that plays 3 guards and has 2 former NBA players' sons on their team to maybe do some damage. Same with Dayton and Arizona. They always find a way to blow it. But North Carolina, I think they win their opening game here against whoever they play, and then certainly has a real good chance to make to the Final Four.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a potential North Carolina versus their former star Caleb Love, maybe in the Elite Eight. Let me go to NC State, who won 5 games in 5 days to win the ACC tournament. Last team to do that in a power league was Connecticut, and then they won 6 in a row to cut the nets down. So can we pencil in the Wolfpack for Arizona?
Well, at least to cover. I mean, 5.5-point underdog. Are you kidding me? Texas Tech was 6-9 against the spread as a 5-point favorite or more. They're better in an underdog role. North Carolina State has some trouble when their opponents hit the boards, but Texas Tech is the exact same spot as far as rebounds per game, 35.1, which is 190th in the country. So these two teams are very similar here, but NC State's red hot here, playing with free money. I like them plus the 5.5. I am winning the game outright.
I do too.
On these 10, 11, 12, and 13 seeds, if you were to play them money line over the last 10 years, you'd be up 15 units. So take them plus the 5.5, and also on the money line to take out Texas Tech.
Yeah, I like State to win the game as well. I think I have a flyer on them to the Sweet 16 at plus 500. So I don't see anything wrong. I know Kentucky's waiting there. I know it. I get it. But
Kentucky's not the same Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's be honest about that.
I agree. There's a lot of people think that they're going to the Final Four, but I like the way State's playing right now. I don't like the way Duke is playing right now. Should Duke be worried about Vermont?
I don't think they should be worried about Vermont. I mean, Vermont only played a Tier 1 team in Charleston. They did win the game early in the season back in November, 73-64, but Vermont's going to try to slow it down here. I mean, there's no two ways about it here. They have won the 5th straight American East title, and that's impressive. TJ Long, nice tournament he had, but problem is Duke is too much. But after that game, I think Duke wins that game and covers. They did them no favors. You talk about the toughest top part of a bracket here. If Duke wins, they're going to probably have to play Wisconsin, and then the winner of possibly Houston and Texas A&M. I'm going to take a flyer here. You're not going to get Jay Billis predictions from me. I do like UConn and North Carolina, but I'm going to go with ninth-seeded Texas A&M to make it to the Final Four.
Whoa!
I think they're going to be my dipper dandy here. Texas A&M. How about this?
Dipper.
They beat Iowa State without 3 starters, lost to Houston by 3 without 2 starters, and beat 2 other number 2 seeds and beat Kentucky twice here. Texas A&M can play with anyone.
Yeah, Texas A&M also, unlike most of the teams in their kind of area of the draw, they went outside the league. They played a very, very good non-conference schedule, so they should be honed. And I'm a big Buzz Williams guy, so he's just super fun.
And even if they don't win big, he's just fun to watch on the sideline.
No question about that. All right, now are there certain stats, certain trends you look at? Do conference champions tend to falter in the NCAA tournament? Is there a stat that jumps out to you? We're talking with Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports about the brackets. Is something that people can look at to maybe help them out?
12 5 seeds, 12 versus 5 seeds have been the most fun and also probably the most profitable. So if you want to look at maybe some first round upsets here, maybe Grand Canyon.
I like JMU.
Money line plus 175. Bryce Drew's third appearance. They were there in 2021 and 2023. Also a top 50 team in scoring offense and defense. Look at them. And then maybe also UAB as a 12 seed here, plus 6.5 and plus 225 on the money line. Could be a lower scoring one possession game versus San Diego State, which plays at a snail's pace here, number 266 in the country here. So they've had UAB blowout wins over Red Hot South Florida, Wichita State, and Temple. So I always love the 12 seeds, and the key is it's just you got to play the tournament as it comes along. And the best thing about gambling being legal now, sports gambling, is in-game betting. You know, teams like Kansas, how can you bet a team, where you don't even know if the top 2 players on their team are even going to play in the game? So in-game betting has made it so much more fun and so much more fun to follow.
Yeah, second half lines are going to be interesting for a lot of people. Like, what is that? Like, no, you read about it. You got it. Lee Sterling, before I let you go, give me your Final Four.
My Final Four, I'm going to go with UConn, North Carolina, Texas A&M, and Tennessee. And I'm going to, unfortunately, have to call UConn for a second year in a row to cut down the nets. I saw them play in November in Madison Square Garden. They are scary good on offense, and even when you break them down on defense and get into the lane, they got a 7-2 monster sitting in there waiting for you.
No, the UConn, I think, is absolutely, no doubt about it, the best team in the country. I know we're not going to talk about the women's field, but I just want to ask you this question real quick.
Yeah.
The fact that South Carolina is minus money right now to win it all says what to you?
Says to me it's a sucker's play to play anyone else or the field. So when a line looks, that short, it's short for a reason.
This is like Tiger Woods versus the field in a golf tournament, which used to be able to do it.
And how can you bet against it?
I would never. Actually, Tiger Woods, the last time I saw that with Tiger Woods, he beat the field. And South Carolina is likely to do the same thing. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. I appreciate your time, sir. We will do it again.
Sounds good. Take care.
Brackets. Picking them tomorrow, all based on the best movie in that specific area. Victoria, have your brackets ready. It's the last time. See ya.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
North Carolina, the waiting is over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is live in North Carolina. Adam Gold here, and we got a hockey game tonight where the Carolina Hurricanes are trying to beat the New York Islanders and put their foot on the Islanders' neck. Hey, and you can add a little spice to it, a little money line sprinkle, if you will. And FanDuel customers right now, brand new customers, can get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. Take the ice with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. Must be 21 and